Hello again. Welcome back to the Automating Everything series. I wanted to start today's episode off with going over my Rails section over here that I did last episode. I've created like a little pathway here using the same sort of palette as what I made down here. I made this like storage zone that it's like, some iron, and then this is just like kind of some random other material that kind of looks irony. More iron here. Basically, it's like just a little storage thing. It was like a weird space to work with, and because the ridge followed here, and I didn't really want to push that in. So I figured it's like, it's just thematic. But anyway, going to our actual tracks here, it's been going pretty good. Occasionally I notice issues like this, where something will slip past the press. I don't really know how to fix that, necessarily. Maybe I could have like a mechanical arm which will only grab the incomplete tracks from this specific spot, but I don't think arms can grab from the belt directly, so that might not work. Maybe I could have like a chute under it, then it pipes it up. I don't know. For now, I can manually fix it. It's fine. But yeah, this is kind of what the general area looks like here. It's just a big concrete pad, in a way, or dirt or gravel pad. I'm like still unsure if I want to do a full shelter on this, so for now I'm keeping it open. So yeah, and then I can also access the iron nuggets through here for other things when I eventually need to use those iron nuggets. So, for today's episode, I would like to automate a bit of food. Now, up to this point, I don't think I've ever showed this, but I've had a little egg chicken farm here for quite a while, basically. That's just been here making me eggs, and it has a void upgrade so it doesn't lag everything out. But I've also had this. Now this has seen some iteration. As you can see here, it used to be the traditional Minecraft lava one where the chickens grow and they grow into lava, killing them instantly into cooked chicken. But I decided to change it around because the raw chicken is actually more useful for a lot of recipes. Cooked chicken isn't used as much, particularly with Farmer's Delight here. So I figured it would be better to move with that. And hey, if it needs cooked, you can just cook it directly. So yeah, and then it also has the added benefit of making, feathers and these experience nuggets. What this does is it basically just punches the chickens as soon as they grow up. I would like to give this looting sword. It would be really nice. However, the sweeping edge kills all the baby chickens, so it's not that great. I bring this up though because this is a very rough design here. I literally did this just because I wanted to have something, some food running in the background, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'd like to make something a bit more nice and proper. Now, last series, I did make that, chicken restaurant kind of thing. And I would like to do something similar, but over here. More of like a shack, if you will. Because there's this strange, unused spot right here that I don't really know what to do with. And if I think about it, it's like, it could be like a little food stand, essentially, for this area. Right next to the harbor, people come in, get chicken, I guess, and that sort of thing. So we could have, a building set up right around here, maybe a bit off here as well, and have just the simple chicken farm set up within it somehow. So that's the starting plan for today, at least. Alright, so I've gone ahead and come up with a sort of design here. I know last series I made like a chicken themed one, and I'm kind of just going for more of a little stall. Well, it's not very little. I am just using what is this material? It's red wool in 2 different chipped forms, and then also chipped mushroom block, because I have a ton of them from having to clear all this space in the mushroom forest since I've got a silk touch axe. So I've been trying to use it where I can, like how I use the stems on this building. But it's kind of hard because it has very limited textures. Anyway, this is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to have like a desk of sorts here. Or no, not a desk. More like a serving stand, right? Or a table. That's the word. If I just grab some block here. A table like this, and then this is just a little door. and it's like a pretty open layout. Maybe we just have the chicken being made basically right here, because it is mostly a vanilla thing that we're doing here. Last series, what I did is I included a full wheat farm. I'm unsure if I want to do that again. I'm kind of tempted to, just because it does help a lot with the rates, because then you can grow the chickens, and if the chickens are growing faster, you might just be able to use a sword. But then again, the sword loses durability, so it's fine. So that's what I'm thinking for this. Maybe the top side shows the chickens, like, you know, you could just have it at the back wall there, you know, just very openly farming these chickens in the worst way possible, in the most inhumane way possible, but you know, that's Minecraft for you. And then the more advanced stuff, like, I don't know, maybe like these belts, they wouldn't need to be there. Instead, we'll have the crates like on the quote-unquote table or something along those lines. So yeah, I'm gonna need to tear all of this down. You know what? Actually, what we could have for the deployer is have it come from under, because right here we need to have this hopper here to pick up these eggshells, which are generated from the eggs when they are shot. So we still have space there, so we could put seeds into that to make them grow from below, thus allowing us to have our underground wheat farm. So this is basically a reiteration of the farm from last series, but yeah. So yeah, that's the plan. Alright, so you know, I've been doing some building. It's like currently 1:30 in the morning, if I'm fully honest. But I've come up with this little shack, if you will, with the little, like, you know, you can't fully fit the word chicken, so I went with CHKN as an abbreviated chicken. Added a path, made a little counter, you know, but I used these framed bars like I did up here, but using, I want to say this was deep slate brick, and then that's just stone brick back there. But this is the basic mechanism. It's copied over from over there, so nothing's changed. Bunch of chickens in there, make eggs for this dispenser. Those are automatically launched. When the chickens grow up, then this deployer will kill the chickens and drop the loot, and it'll go along this belt here and fall into our 4 barrels, of which we have here. Now, I did also add just the egg production alongside the chicken production, because it fits the vibe, and it's just easier to put it all in one place. So I just add that to the belt here, because it shouldn't be a problem. So now all I have to do is hook everything up, which can take some effort, especially if I want it at any reasonable speed. So I am going to have to do that now. So I'll be back when that's ready. Okay, solid 20 minutes later, I got everything rigged up in here, and I put a little simple stone brick ceiling. I might work with this more later, but honestly it doesn't matter too much. Main thing is, this now functions, and I believe we just heard the dispenser actually go. It didn't dispense any. If I go ahead and just prime this with a few eggs here, grab a few, and just pop them in here, we should see that it's dispensing them out, and the shells go in there. Yeah. And there's our chickens. Perfect. Now, they aren't getting punched, as it currently is, because, you know, they're too short. So once they grow, they'll get punched, and it goes that way, and then our chickens up there just generate the eggs. We have a hidden water wheel just under there with a bunch of gears to gear it up. In fact, I should make sure to light it. But other than that, I was actually surprisingly able to keep this fairly simple in terms of the rigging and connecting the belts, so it's kind of all right here. And then I've got just kind of a little space back here to access this general area. But yeah, it's set up now. I think it's a cute little place. It doesn't fit, maybe not, but it's fine. we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings here now, and I think it fits the place. And technically 6 if you count the track area, but eh. But that's not gonna do it for this, because, you know, this didn't take long. It was something I practically already had, so I want to automate something else. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and add the wheat farm below this system. So now this whole thing collects wheat as well. I could, like, go through the process of turning this into bread, but it kind of feels like it'd just be a bit much for this. So I just went with automating wheat. And if we go down here, I've just got a hidden trapdoor. It's fairly simple. It's pretty much very similar to the design from the last series. There's this whole mess of cogwheels and such, but all the seeds get pumped into this deployer, which goes into our chamber with all the baby chickens. In here, you can't see the hand because it doesn't quite reach enough, but it does indeed work. And the wheat just goes up a chute that connects right here, up using a fan, up into the belt to go with the rest of the things that this generates to then meet the barrels up here, basically. So yeah, this now officially automates all these 5 things. You can kind of hear it functioning. It's a very noisy machine considering all the chickens, but I might be able to add a sort to this, because if the chickens are growing fast enough, then it might not sweeping edge them all away, but I'm not entirely sure. It should help with the rates, though, is the point. Now it's going to be more determined by how quickly we can generate eggs, which maybe we'll make additions. We'll see. It's not super critical, honestly. I just want it to be generating some stuff. So yeah. Okay, so after having finished that chicken farm, I want to do something in preparation for the next episode after this one. And that would be automating pointed dripstone, which is pretty easy to do, especially when we have create here. Now, the only way pointed dripstone can grow is when you have basically a block. Let's see if I can grab, you have your blocks of whatever. Let's use the shaft, say, as the pointed dripstone. So you need a water source right where this block is, and then this has a chance of basically randomly growing downward. So what I want to do is basically set up a whole array of these, and I was thinking of doing it right here, because there's this like perfect lawn zone that can kind of do it, make it like a lawn thing. What we can use this pointed dripstone for is actually lava generation, because you may or may not know, pointed dripstone with a lava source above the block it is placed on can drip lava into a cauldron, which we can then pump out and farm, essentially. So, in order to do that, we'll want quite a bit of pointed dripstone, so I figured, hey, why not automate it? So, let's go ahead and grab some dripstone here. I'm assuming, yeah, I have some pointed dripstone, and we'll get started on that sort of structure. We'll need some drills. Maybe it's a minecart contraption we'll use. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so we have the basic setup now. I've set up a platform similar to that stuff up there, made like a holding wall for all the dirt and stuff at the back here. But we're basically just going to have a minecart contraption, which I can now assemble. And maybe I can get it moving. Hold on. If I just... maybe... no. It can always be a bit funky to get these things going. But if I... can I... let's see here. Push down here. Go? Oh, I didn't glue it. That would generally help. Well, anyway. As I was saying, we just have a minecart contraption here with a bunch of drills in either direction. And eventually, as I get more and more pointed dripstone, I will fill this whole section out. So then it'll basically be going back and forth, making our pointed dripstone. Alright, with this all glued up now, if we click that, I believe we should be able to get this thing moving. If we just pop over in here again, like I did before. It can be difficult to get these contraptions moving sometimes, just because of the nature of them. So actually what we could do is grab it with a wrench, which means it's just sitting in our inventory here as a minecart contraption. And then what we can do is we can just set it, I don't know, like there. This will allow us to then just push it, and it will stay there. Did I remove that? Maybe... This has always been difficult for me sometimes, is sometimes these contraptions don't exactly work how I want them to. Let me work with this more. Alright, so unfortunately, in the process of trying to get this thing to move around, it accidentally mined the back wall here, so let me just replace that real quick. There we go. But I figured it out. It was basically I was using framed stairs here as a aesthetic choice, basically. Turns out that needs to be a solid block for it to function properly, so we can just do this on either end here and it will function perfectly fine. So now when we give this a push, which I'm just going to grab it and put it out here like so, push her along. Now it'll stay there because it's connecting to that, right? No, but now it's got the heart assembler there. So let's move it to here, push it, and now it should move properly. Oh, you know what? It wants to pull out of this inventory. So if we just get a chute here, maybe? I don't know. It's always a bit funky working with these. Alright, so I spent a bit more time, prettying up this quote-unquote system, if you can call it that, and fixing the flaws I had with it. Turns out framed blocks do indeed not stop the rails properly, so like the minecart doesn't bounce off of them. But other than that, here we go. I had to gather a bunch more dripstone. Turns out it's extremely slow rates here, so this is going to be a very gradual farm. I may end up having to put multiple layers, which I could easily do, but we'll see. For now, it'll do. I actually had to go out and gather some more pointed dripstone, which I have here, so I'll have plenty for next video's project. But yeah, I just went with a simple platform, and I actually added all this. So we got Gabbro, which is added by, where is it? Create Dreams and Desires, as well as Cut Gabbro and Dripstone and Cut Dripstone. Basically on theme with all this. It's like you can hear, if you listen extremely closely, you can hear all the dripping from this. Idea being that like all the sediment is dripping onto the ground here. So yeah, I think if I really want to improve the rates on this, I could probably add many more layers and it work quicker. I'm not entirely sure. I may have to look further into how dripstone actually works. Like, I'm not entirely sure if it needs just a dripstone block up here. If so, well, we'll have to replace that, but it's fine. Because instead of just being water sources up here, I used framed blocks so I can decide however it looks like eventually, and I can waterlog these, so I can freely remove the blocks under it and water won't spill everywhere. So that's nice at least. So I should be able to modify this system as I need to. And I, of course, also added just a bit of pathway, like, a bit of gravel and dirt to kind of symbolize going up to this. Maybe I should put, like, a sort of caution tape or something, I'm not entirely sure. But for now, that's gonna do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. We got pointed dripstone and all the chicken products over here, which let's go ahead and stop by that again. And our chicken store, which on a side note, it seems to be occasionally spilling a chicken. Like, you see how this chicken is damaged, but it's just kind of here. I have a feeling that this... Oh, well, what do you know, huh? This must be leaking chicken somehow. Maybe they're able to squeeze out, so I might have to, I don't know, add something. It's hard to say how it's happening, but other than that, it's working pretty well here, and we're generating wheat. A few nuggets of experience, that's not really the main thing. Chicken, eggs, and feathers. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you for the next episode, where we'll be automating quite a few things, including lava.